YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders video. And in today's video, I'm coming on here with the video where we're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders playoff chances if they in fact beat the New York Giants, and if they lose to the New York Giants, what are we looking at as far as our chances to make the playoffs? So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, or in this case, our Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Let's get straight into today's video. So as we know, the Washington Commanders are currently on their bye week, and all we have to talk about is the game versus the Giants. That's not this Sunday, but next Sunday. That is the huge game that everyone is talking about. That is the biggest game that the Washington Commanders is having on this year up to that point. And that is the biggest game that we are having at FedEx Field, man. I so badly want to go to this game, bro. Like, I really, really do. So, hey, man, if anybody want to hook your boy up with a ticket, man, don't be shy to hit that DM, man. You know what I'm saying? Your boy wants to be in there live and full effect, because I already know that stadium is going to be electric. But the Washington Commanders are currently enjoying their bye. We getting away from ball this week because, again, I feel like, honestly, this is the most perfect bye because we have pushed all our chips towards that game versus the Giants. Now, let's say, and again, the circumstances probably most likely would have changed if we had a game this weekend. But let's say for the Giants and the Commanders, both the way everything is standing now still stands, and the Commanders had a game this Sunday, right? We would come in there probably bruised, battered, and injured, and probably have sustained more injuries and whatnot. And we will be coming in there, versus the Giants, a little bruised and battered, right? But that's not going to happen. Why? Because we're on the bye week, and we get to get away from the game a little bit to prepare for these Final Four games, the biggest one being versus the New York Giants. So I think the bye week came at a perfect time. I even said when the bye week first came out back in May, I said I like it because you remember back then, back in May, there was a lot of mixed emotions about the bye week at the time, and I was a fan of the bye week. I was saying I like it being late because it gives us a chance right before the stretch that we're having, the most important stretch of the season, to get us healed. Get Benjamin St. Jude's back. Get Sam Collins back. Possibly get Chase Young back, okay? So I think it came at a perfect time. And obviously, back in May, I didn't know we were going to be in this predicament, but I assumed something like this could have possibly happened. And now, look, the bye week is here to bless us. So I think we're sitting in a good position to possibly beat the New York Giants and whatnot, and possibly make the playoffs, right? So let's go ahead and talk about today's video. So we're going to break down to you guys what the percentages and what are the chances, and how is the Washington Commanders playoff chances looking if we win versus the Giants, and what happens if we lose. I know we don't want to lose, but we also got to cover that aspect of it because you never know what can happen. And who's to say we don't tie again? God, please don't let that happen. But we even got to cover that. So shout out to the website. I got it from my man Pedro Schmidt's stream. We were on his stream last weekend, and I think it's called 538, which is a website that allows you to go over the NFL's record predictions and whatnot, and allows you to go over the possible chances. So let's go ahead and make this full screen for you guys. And as you're going to be able to see, you're going to see the playoff chances of each NFL team right here. Make the playoffs, win the division first round bye, win the Super Bowl, and so forth and so on. So obviously we know the Eagles, they have the best chance to obviously, win the Super Bowl. They have a 99% chance of making the playoffs, right? So, or win the division rather, and then they have a 99% chance of making the playoffs, right? So that's not what we're here for. We're here for our Washington Commanders. So as you can currently see, Washington Commanders currently sit 7-5-1 on this season, and we are currently on our bye week. And as we sit headed into week 14, the Washington Commanders have a 70% chance of making the playoffs, based off of this week versus the bye or whatever, or having a bye. And obviously nothing has taken place and for this week yet, so we don't know that can change. But as of right now, Thursday, we are a 70% chance to make the playoffs, right? Then you go down to, or go up rather, down to the New York Giants, and they have a 50% chance to make the playoffs. You're probably like, huh, Juan, what? How are we having a better odd to make the playoffs over the Giants, and they have a better record than us, or pretty the same record. I honestly think the reason why we have a better chance is because they know we're the better team. They know we have a chance to actually make something shake if we make the playoffs. No shots to the Giants because obviously coaching makes a big impact, and they aren't the worst team. They're not as bad as a lot of people thought, but they know if they get to the playoffs, they're probably going to get slaughtered, okay? And they know that they're starting to come down to reality, okay? The Giants, that tie is the best case scenario for them because headed into that game versus us, they were, I would say, a 2 or 3 game losing streak at that time. So they know that the Giants season is starting to derail, and that tie pretty much saved them from it happening. Now they have a chance versus the Eagles to make the play this Sunday. And also another factor that goes into that is look at their upcoming schedule. It's Philly, it's at Washington, and it's at Minnesota. So they have a tough stretch last 3 out of 4 games. And I think that last game is against Philly also. So they definitely have a tough stretch. So not only are the Giants odds lower than us to make the playoffs because we're the better team, in my opinion, at least talent-wise, I think we're the better team. They also have a much tougher schedule than us. So that's probably the big reason. So let's go ahead and do this. Pay close attention to this exercise. So again, let's just assume Washington goes on the run to beat the New York Giants at home on Sunday Night Football, right? That happens. That boosts their chance all the way up to 89, almost 80 or almost 90% chance of making the playoffs with a win versus the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football. Okay, so that is huge because Washington having an 88% chance of making the playoffs back in October, you couldn't buy me. You couldn't tell me that. You couldn't get me to buy that belief, right? But having an 88% chance with 3 games to go is a really, really good shot of making the playoffs. And then you go down to the Giants. They now fall to a 32% chance of making the playoffs. Now, let's say Washington, unfortunately, let's knock on some wood here, but we got to cover this, right? I hope this doesn't happen, but let's just say Washington, unfortunately, loses to the New York Giants. That then pushes our chances. Not only do we fall to 7-6-1, but that pushes our chances of making the playoffs to 31%. That means we then have to hope the Giants could possibly, or then actually, we can't worry about the Giants anymore because they won the season series pretty much if they have the tiebreaker over us, right? Then we have to hope Seattle loses out or some craziness happens with them and then they lose out, or hope that the 49ers could somehow lose out and just something crazy would have to happen if we want to make the playoffs if we in fact lose to New York. And let's just not even put ourselves in that predicament. But again, we have to cover that aspect of things. But then let's just say the ultimate craziness happens again, and Washington and New York ties yet again for the second straight time, right? If Washington and New York ties for the second straight game, that pushes Washington's playoff chances to a 62%, and then makes the Giants a 49%. Now, again, I think if Washington ties for the second straight time with this team, that just makes them have to win their final 3. Okay, that makes the 49ers, the Browns, and the Cowboys that much more important. Okay, because we again have a better chance than the Giants to make the playoffs because we have the much easier schedule and quite frankly the much more talented team. So Washington sitting at a tie, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but again, it would just feels like empty calories and just be like, wow, we sat through yet another tie. It would be crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't even remember the last time a team tied twice in a year, let alone to the same opponent, right? It would be crazy. But let's just hope we don't have to go through that, and Washington can take care of business and they actually win versus the Giants. And I'm going to leave that win up there for good luck. Now, let's just see something right quick. Let's go ahead and take a look at Seattle, right? Let's say Seattle goes on to, let's say, lose versus Carolina. They lose versus Carolina. Or they lose. Let's put a loss down there. Let's say they lose versus Carolina, right? So let's just take away our victory right quick. Let's do this. All right. So they lose versus Carolina. Hold on. Let's take away this victory. Okay. So they lose versus Carolina, right? Washington then playoff chances goes up to a 75% chance because then Washington will leapfrog Seattle for I want to say they're currently sitting in the 6th seed right now, or the 5th seed. One of those, I think it's the 6th. They're currently sitting at the. Oh no, they're currently sitting at the 7th seed. Sorry about that, because we're the 8th seed. They're currently looking at the 7th seed. So if they lose this Sunday, we then leapfrog them. And we go to the 7th seed, and then that makes that Giants game much more important, right? So then let's say they lose versus Seattle, or Seattle loses to the Panthers, and then let's just say the Giants somehow beat Philly, right? They beat Philly. That then pushes the Giants' opportunity to make the playoffs to an 83% chance, and they will remain in the wild card picture. And then Washington and New York would still be in the playoffs, right? So when that game versus the Giants come up this time, and both teams are in the playoff picture right now, let's see what happens if Washington goes on to win and New York goes on to lose. Let's see what happens then. Okay, so if that goes on to happen, Washington's playoff chances now goes back up again, right into about that 88% chance, and New York's opportunity would then be a 72% chance, or 73% chance, and both teams will currently be occupying those last 2 wild card spots. So again, this is a huge game, right? We don't want to have to depend on Seattle to lose games, right? Because they're playing good football and they have a pretty easy schedule until they get to that Kansas City game. Again, we don't know what Brock Purdy's going to be, so he's going to be that wild card. But with that, they have other ways to get in the playoffs. But let's not even have to have that come down to that, and let's take care of our own business. So if Washington gets a win over the New York Giants, okay, let's remove everything else. And let's do this. Remove this right quick. Let's just give you the last final, diagnostic of everything. And let's say Washington wins versus the New York Giants. Washington's playoff chances would then go up to an 88% chance. And that is a really, really good percentage of making the playoffs, because then again, who would have thought Washington would be sitting at an 88% chance of making the playoffs back in October? Not me. I would not have thought that. That would have been crazy, right? So let's go ahead and remove this and watch Washington's playoff chances increase, right? At the beginning of the video, you guys saw that Washington had an 88% chance of making the playoffs based off of the Carolina win, or the Giants win. So basically, if Washington goes on to again beat the Giants, they have an 88% chance. And let's see what happens if the Giants lose the game versus Philly. If Giants loses the game versus Philly, and then we then beat them to the following week, then that boosts our chances to make the playoffs to a 91% chance. So there is a lot riding on these games this upcoming week and next weekend, obviously, with us. So that is our chances to make the playoffs, and what it would look like if Washington wins, lose, or tie. So please let me know. Let me bring myself back into this frame here. Let me know how you doing. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below about Washington's playoff chances. I broke it down in depth for you guys, so I hope you guys understand. This is a big game next Sunday, man, and I would love to be there in person. But whether I'm there in person or I'm streaming the game at the crib, I'm gonna be rooting for them burgundy and gold. So as always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hail to the Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Thank you so much. It's me and boy Juan Gotti. I'm out. Yeah.
Cross me one time, that's gonna get you pop. Get you pop, get you drop. Slide on the one where they get you lost.